By the light of the sun, by the depth of the moon, by the flame of the wand, and by the pentacle of earth, I call upon the guides of wisdom, the ancestors of the craft, and the holy guardian angel. Guide us now through the stations of the dove and serpent. Reveal what is hidden, that we may transform it into light. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Today we walk the path of the dove and serpent spread, an 11-fold journey of transformation. Each position reveals a unique aspect of your journey, alternating between the essence of your being and the events that help to shape your destiny. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Knight of Pentacles, one of my favorite cards. This is the card that is having the vision of the future, and it's position 1. It's your station. This represents kind of your sense of self. This is who we are when we close our eyes at night. This is kind of what we're preoccupied with. This is the general vibe of our ego right now, okay? And this card is all about having a vision of the future and being able to see who I am, where I am, and where I'm going, right? And so we can see kind of the mountain, right? If you look at this card, you can see the mountain that's up there in the background. We can't really see the summit necessarily, right? So it's kind of implying that we may not know what our ultimate goals are, some kind of final goal here, but we have a general idea of the mountain that we got to climb, and we're sort of anticipating the difficulties, anticipating the challenges. See, this is not somebody that's just rushing into the next thing. This is somebody that's about to begin a really important journey and is trying to look at all the options, trying to look at all the challenges that may await us on this mountain, right? So I feel like you're somebody who likes to plan things ahead of time. You like to sort of, take a good look at the challenge that's in front of you. You're not rushing into things. You're kind of calm. This is a card that's sometimes slow to get moving, but that's okay because we're looking at the future and we're reverse engineering it, and we're saying, okay, I know which way I need to go. I know what options I need to choose. And more importantly, I know what I need to bring with me, right? So we're able to sort of gather our supplies and know what things are necessary for us, okay? And this card, this energy also, you're someone that understands that every decision you make right now is creating our future. Every thought, word, and deed in the present moment is creating who we're going to be down the road, and what we're going to be, and where we're going to be doing it, what we're going to be doing. So let's put this card into a little bit of context. I feel like you're somebody that's about to begin something really big, kind of a new adventure or the next phase of your life, okay? So this card's asking you to kind of reflect on that, asking ourselves the question, where is my attention fixed right now? What is the big mountain before me? What do I need to know about the mountain? What can I see of it? What can I envision is waiting for me on the mountain? And, what are the goals here, basically, right? So let's put this card into a little bit of context, shall we? Context is everything. So we're going to lay the rest of our cards out. See, there we got another very calm, very peaceful, very patient, and very diligent 8 of Pentacles. We have 10 of Cups. Beautiful. We have the Death card behind you. We have a 4 of Swords. We have a 7 of Cups. Over here we have the Hermit. We have the 2 of Cups, the 6 of Swords, and a 7 of Swords. So a 7 and a 7 in both of these sort of future positions, right? Which is very interesting. And I think that this is really saying that, look, the path that you have before you right now is a path that you love. It is something that speaks to you in the core of your being, right? We know there's going to be challenges. We know that there's going to be emotional distractions and sort of mental, there's going to be cognitive things that are going to distract us. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be, difficulties just staying focused, right? And that's just the way it goes. We're kind of, it's par for the course, and I think you're somebody that understands that, right? Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down over here with Mr. Ed, our little horse, right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. But we'll tie everything together, of course, and give us our confirmation at the end of the reading. If at any point during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, well, put your prediction in the comments down below, okay? Now, as we look around the room, we do see really just two major cards, which is, of course, the Death card and the Hermit, right? And so this is a big quest for you, spiritual quest. There was a big transformation in your past. There's something in the past that we still probably need to let go of, and things that we're still processing, okay? But the Knight, let me just emphasize that all of the Knights of the Tarot, right? All of the Knights, Pentacles, Wands, Cups, and Swords, all of the Knights are looking at the future. All of the Knights are about to begin this quest of getting to the future, right? Sort of looking at the 10 of Pentacles, right? But seeing all the steps in between. Yeah. So the Ace through the 10 is what the Knight is really looking at. And all of the Knights are kind of talking about how we go about beginning new things in life. Okay, so this is kind of, this is a general card for your energy right now that says you begin new things very carefully. You're not just jumping into everything. You're not someone that's stuck in your head about things, though, over planning. No, you're looking at it in a very practical way, and you're not quick to rush into anything. Yeah. You take your time, you make sure you have everything you need, you make sure that you're prepared, and then we go after it, right? Anyway, so you have your Death card, and you have your Hermit, which the Hermit card is really saying, like, it's time to get on this journey. It's time to start this quest. Yeah. But other than that, we don't have any fire right now. We have quite a bit of water, right? And quite a bit of our air cards. It's kind of equal, right, with the water. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so really the cognitive stuff, the mental, emotional stuff, right? Thinking and feeling functions are pretty well matched. That we love this enough to kind of understand that there's going to be challenges. My mind is going to have doubts at some point. I'm going to feel distractions. I'm going to feel, especially as we get closer to the goal, we're going to feel like there are more and more distractions. Because the closer you get to the goal, everything other than the one thing you need to do, everything else becomes a distraction, right? So let's start with our Pentacles here. You have your 8 of Pentacles. This is position 2. It's the battle field, right? It's your personal task, personal quest right now. And this is obviously a card of growth, right? We see a nice, lovely tree there that's trying to branch out, trying to bear fruit. I think, what's going on in your life is you're learning how to take everything that you've ever been through in life and turn it into like fertilizer for the soil, turn it into something that's going to help you and benefit you. And I think that's why the Death card's there too, because the Death card is a card of transmutation. It's a card of taking all of our experiences and realizing that they are powerful in the sense that they have developed in us certain skills, abilities, the wealth of experience that we have. Nothing is wasted, right? So we'll talk about that when we get to the Death card. But the 8 of Pentacles is a slow, careful, cautious card. It's a card of prudence. And so between these two, yeah, it really feels like that's your quest right now. Whatever you're beginning in life, we do it carefully, we do it diligently. It's kind of testing your resolve in a way, because this is something that needs a lot of, let's say, practice or repetition. It needs a lot of focus. There's a lot of details. It's kind of like you're about ready to start growing your garden. So you're making sure you have all your tools, making sure you got your chicken wire and your soil, and you got your watering can, you got the seeds. You have the time, the space, and everything, and we have everything sort of set up and ready to go. And then we're realizing that, okay, this 8 of Pentacles, it's kind of the long, boring middle. It's like, okay, this may be I'm very eager to start, and I'm very eager to get the final the result. But I have to realize that the real important work is just the daily grind, going and watering the garden every day, and checking on the plants, and just hauling the water over, and I don't know, whatever you got to do, pull out the weeds or whatever, check for bugs, and protect it from animals. Maybe you got some rabbits that are going to eat your carrots or something. But this is a lot of paying attention. Yeah, this is a lot of repetition, and it's a lot of it's attention. It's meticulous. That's the word. Very meticulous, right? And this is kind of where you're being called on to grow and transform too, because Sagittarius, maybe you are typically someone who rushes into things. I mean, you're a fire sign anyway, right? So maybe there's this typical energy of you just kind of saying, I don't know if I got everything I need, but let's just get on the road. I'm like that too sometimes, where it's just, we'll leave the house, and I'm just so eager to get on the road that halfway to our destination, I say, I forgot my medication, God forbid, I forgot, the sunscreen, or I forgot my favorite hat, something along these lines. But I think that this is a challenge for you to slow down and really do the calm, and it's almost like the peaceful work. There's a tranquility about this for you. And I think it's not typical. I think usually we see a lot of fire in your readings, don't we? I think if we think of the past, all the readings that we've done for you, we see a lot of fire. We don't have any of it today. We've got the cardinal earth energy, which is a Capricorn energy, and this is a fiery earth energy. Okay, so to me it feels like this is where we're about ready to get started on something new, something that's going to be kind of a long and maybe a little bit repetitive or tedious. I feel like you're going to have to be practicing something, or I feel like it's something that's like this is going to be every day. Maybe this is a physical health kind of thing. Our physical fitness. Maybe this is like, okay, I'm going to start this new physical fitness thing. And, it just means that every day I've got to do the 30 minutes of exercise or whatever, or stretching or walking or whatever. I'm doing this thing now where I'm trying to do stretching for 10 minutes in the morning. I didn't have time to do it today. I did it yesterday. And then to do 30 minutes of some kind of strength training in the afternoon, right? So, I feel like it's not just a big surge of energy. It's something that needs to be a steady drop in the bucket every day, right? And this might be your, this is where your will is really going to be forged, because you're going to have to commit to yourself to something like this that's going to take a long time, Let's look at position 3, which is the soul, right? It reveals your unconscious drives, maybe your private self, the emotional landscape beneath this kind of core, vibe, ego energy, right? And what we have here is the 10 of Cups, satiety. Satiety. This is a mixed card, because sometimes this is the feeling like I feel so good, I don't want to do anything. That it's kind of it's comfortable to sit still. It's comfortable to just be who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing now. I don't want to go. I don't need to go forward and do anything, And so I wonder if you're sort of this unconscious energy, because this is down beneath the surface, right? So you might be feeling as if I really want to feel better, or have the emotional reward of getting to the goal, right? Whatever the goal is, if it's physical, if it's financial, if it is relationship stuff, if it's a career thing, if it's, whatever it is for you. Doesn't matter what it is. But the idea is that I'll feel really good when I get to the goal, okay? That there will be kind of an emotional reward, waiting for me when I get there. But at the same time, it kind of feels good to just be here doing nothing. I kind of just want to sit here. It's like when you're in bed in the morning and you don't want to get out of bed. It feels so warm and cozy. It feels like it's perfect. This is the perfect moment right now. I don't want to get out of bed and start my day. So it's kind of this weird thing where we know that doing the hard work is going to lead us to something better down the road. But in order to get there, we have to kind of have to sacrifice some of our comfort in the present, right? In the more immediate future. Yeah. But this is the card of fulfillment. This is the card of purpose. This is the card of bliss. This is the card of the dream come true, right? So I feel like you have inside of you something that knows the long term is worth it. That whatever you're doing may take a while to get there. It's something that you're building, something you're growing and transforming, and it's something that may take a while to really establish, but it's worth putting in the work for, right? This could be a card in this position could have to do with family. It could have to do with togetherness, right? It could be like life is perfect. You know, it's this feeling like I have this idea, this vision of a perfect life, and I want to get there. You know, this is a 10. This is something that maybe the Knight of Cups is looking at, right? Looking at the future and thinking, this is how I want my world to feel. That everything is full, that I'm not wanting for anything, that I'm pretty, happy with the way my life is, yeah? And it's kind of a weird thing, because once we feel like we're comfortable with how our life is, we're happy with the way things are, I don't need anything in this moment, everything is perfect, the feeling very quickly goes away, and gives rise to this desire for movement, for something more, for whatever is next. Too much of a good thing it doesn't feel so good, and we get used to it, right? And it stops feeling the same. So it gives rise to kind of this constant movement, where we're always looking for the next best version of our lives, right? And I don't mean in a material sense, like I'm just waiting for the new phone to come out. I'm bored with my phone now. It's lost its novelty, right? You think about a cell phone, right? We're always upgrading these things. It's been a few years since I upgraded mine, and I'm happy that I've been able to hold out. But we get the new thing, the new phone, and it feels really, really good for a while. It's new, it's novel, it's fresh looking, it's got all these features. And then pretty soon it just kind of becomes normal. It just becomes the same. And so then we start looking for whatever's coming next. We want to get that next hit. So we're like, then they come out with a phone next year, right? And usually it's, about 6 months after we get the phone, we're starting to get bored with it. It's just kind of like there's nothing exciting about it anymore. And they know that. And that's why they make us wait another 6 months to get the thing. They kind of come out every year or so, I guess. It gives you 6 months to enjoy the phone you have, then 6 months to desire the new thing. So then when it comes out, you got lines that are going around the block, right? People that are waiting for the new thing, whether it's a PlayStation or a phone or whatever. And it's fun to do that. I like doing that. I don't think I've ever really waited in line for anything like that. But, we're all human anyway. I mean, most of us, I think. So, we're recognizing that life operates that way on a very real, plane. And so for you, like this is the idea that, I have this ideal, I have this perfect vision of life, and I know that, I've got to keep working toward it and growing and keep doing new things, and to keep paying attention, that I'll feel the bliss or the contentment for a moment, but it's going to give way to a more active kind of response, right? I mean, it's a 10. It's supposed to be this finished state of things, this perfection, which doesn't exist in practice. The real cards are the 9s, I tell you, because they're the odd numbers. So we're reaching for a perfect 10. We're living in the 9s. The 9 of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles, that's where we're living. That's the motion of our lives, right? That we're living the happy life, and it's a process. It's a movement. It's not a state, right? The 10 is that perfect state. So anyway, with this card, I feel like you know what it is that you want, and we know how we're going to kind of begin something. Now, the next card is position 4. It's the Dwarf. It uncovers past influences and some inertia or something that's still kind of holding you back or shaping your situation. And it's the Death card, okay? There's old wounds or old patterns or something that still affects you, right? So what events are still echoing in your present? What fears or failures or losses, what in you still needs to sort of still needs to go to make room for what's coming next. So what things about ourselves do we have to let go of, right? What kind of immaturity do we still have back here that we need to sort of take that energy and recycle it and put it into something that's, something that's important to us? So with the Death card, I said this is the card that recycles energy, because all of our experiences, for one, are cumulative. Everything that we go through in life, whether it's of our own volition or something happens to us or through us or for us, it changes who we are. It's an alchemical process, right? And not only that, but this card is representing, the Death card is the great recycler, right? It's recyclops. And it can take any activity, any belief, any thought, any habit, any pattern, anything at all, any experience at all, and can withdraw energy from that and put energy somewhere else. Okay, so as things leave our life, we reclaim that energy, the attention, right? The spiritual energy, the conscious attention, and we put that into something new. And so I feel like you're coming off of this kind of thing. This is an ending for you. The Knight of Pentacles is representing a beginning. That we're slow to begin the new thing, but we're letting go of this past thing. Okay? And I think that this is very important. I think that this was a real karmic lesson for you. I think that this was, we consider it maybe a form of ego death. We consider it maybe a shedding of skin, a molting, a transcendence, okay? The ending of the previous cycle for you. And now we're keeping that in the rearview mirror. We're reclaiming the energy, and that Knight of Pentacles is ready to begin the next phase. Okay, so we definitely don't want to linger here, and we want to really make sure that we've closed up all the we've closed up the portals that might be leaking energy back to this thing, whether it's a person, a relationship, a job, a lifestyle, a way of life, just a phase of life, right? Because we're looking toward the future now, and so this has to become the past, and it has to stay there. Now, the Death card is also the process of change. It's the fundamental force of the universe. It's the nature of nature, right? The Death card is a slow, gradual change over the course of time. It's not these big explosive changes in life, not these big tower events. It's slow, gradual, almost unnoticeable, right? This is, again, going to the gym every day. You come home, you run home from the gym, you look at your muscles and say, they look the same as yesterday. But do that again in 6 months and you'll say, wow, big difference, right? And so whatever you're doing now, I think it's important that you realize that's going to have to be the way, okay? It's slow and steady over the course of time that's going to lead to the greatest transformations. And I think maybe this is referring to a larger cycle in your life, that this isn't just like, okay, this phase has ended now, I'm in something completely different. It almost feels like it's a continuation. It feels like this is the next step in some kind of larger path for you, okay? Now, position 5 is the Giant, reveals your driving force, the dominant motivation, the creative impulses, personal virtue. This is a very steady and stable mind. This may be that one very strong thing in your life is or should be meditation, intentional breathing, breath work, okay? This is the card of kind of understanding how to balance our mind, understanding how to kind of regulate the mind and calm it down, right? Usually this is a card of like mental de-stress, okay? That our thoughts aren't going, a mile a minute, that they're coming now and kind of it's a steady flow, all right? And this is empowering you to move ahead. And I think that this is a really significant thing for you, this ability to control your thoughts and calm your thoughts down, an ability to kind of regulate that mental energy, your ability to focus, your ability to fortify your mind. This is also a 4. I like to think of this card sometimes as our spiritual magical circle of protection. that we understand how to keep out all that annoying stuff, all the distractions, all the doubts, all the worries, all the, everything that might interfere with our path right now. And so this is really, this card is asking you what strengths you're ready to manifest, what strengths you need to embrace in order to manifest your destiny, right? This is a card sometimes of kind of like, well, the key word for this card is truce. It's not peace. It's not love. It's truce. It's kind of an indifference. It's almost saying, look, I'm not gonna spend my energy fighting against things that don't really matter to me anymore. Like I'm not gonna get entangled in drama that really is not. It's not serving me in any way. Yeah. So this is a card. To me, really, it feels like a maturity. It feels like we've leveled up in a big way here, where we're not so enraptured by the nonsense of life. Yeah. And so to me, it feels like you're really concentrating your energy here. And we're ready to do this very intentional path, and we know it's going to be a steady. Maybe you're learning jujitsu, maybe you're learning how to cook, maybe this is a path of like, I'm going to get out of my financial hole. I'm gonna be on this health and wellness path. And something is starting, and this is saying all the things that don't serve that particular lifestyle, anything that's not part of my 10 of Cups needs to go into the recycle bin. And I need to recycle that energy, recycle the time. You think of how much time you'll have to climb this mountain if you got rid of all the things that were not helping you get to the top of that mountain, right? So I can think of my day and think all the moments of my day that are wasted with nonsense, really. And if I were to pool all of that time together, I might buy myself a couple hours in a day where I could do something productive, And so, it's sometimes a more efficient kind of structure to your mind, but it doesn't have to be so regimented. I think that's part of the issue for you too, especially with that 6 of Swords in the position of what you don't want. We don't want to lose the organic quality of life, right? But let's look at the next position. Position 6, the Imago. This is an event. And the immediate consequences of your actions right now, 7 of Cups. Look how we're going from an 8 of Pentacles, and we start to see the 7 of Cups. So when you're focused on this work, this daily toil of the 8 of Pentacles, whatever it is, a lot of things are going to appear to you in their true form. It's like you're experiencing some kind of clarity, some kind of cognitive clarity, mental, emotional, like, I don't know, it feels like a maturity, because it feels like this card is us seeing things really for what they are. Like we've taken off the rose-colored glasses, and I'm seeing things for the nonsense that they are sometimes, right? So we're able to identify things that, look, that's a swamp up there. I don't want to go into that energy. I don't want to step in that, right? So it's kind of, it's almost like your BS detector, if you know what I mean. And, this is us, to align with our goals, we need to recognize the BS, the bovine excrement. And we need to not step in it. We need to avoid it where we can, okay? And I think that really connects with that death card too, because we're understanding where we've been. And so that has taught us something. We've learned a lot through the death card. And this is really, again, all the experiences we've ever had in our lives are really serving us now. Because now we're able to identify the 7 of Cups in front of us. 7 of Cups is a swamp. This is a toxic energy. This may be something that we used to pursue, right? And sometimes this position, at least in the spread, right? This position sometimes are the goals that we're ready to pursue. And this is not a goal we want to pursue, right? Not that we see it now. I think when we're focused on that 8 of Pentacles, these are the real goals. The health, the wellness, the physical, the financial, the mental, emotional, spiritual, creative goals, whatever your goals are. these real, intentional, soulful, healthy goals that you have are then allowing you, orienting yourself toward that Eight of Pentacles is allowing you to see other things as, wow, that's not my goal, you know? And so these are goals that maybe at one time you were wanting to pursue, and now we see them for what they are. Whether it's we see them as being toxic or unhealthy, we see them as being distractions or wastes of time. We see them as being, maybe detrimental to us in some way, right? We could be talking about relationships, we could be talking about friends or activities or habits or hobbies or whatever. But seeing this is saying, look, I know what path I'm on, so I'm able to recognize all of these sort of unwanted behaviors now. And once we start focusing on building things up, see, this is a tree that's growing healthy. This is something that's decaying and dying, right? And so we're really orienting ourselves toward health and growth and wellness and becoming and branching out and evolving. And to do that, we've got to be able to recognize everything that is not the Eight of Pentacles, you see. Now, we're going to talk about the path of the serpent. As we do this, I would like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And if there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Okay. Now, we start with the Hermit. And this is your persona. This shows the public mask, the face that we wear, the costume we wear in the greater theater of life. Okay, how we present ourselves to the world. And the Hermit is a card of not presenting themselves to the world, right? Kind of saying, I'm doing me. I'm doing my thing. I've got my path. I'm following my own light. I'm doing things that make sense to me. I know what my goals are. I don't need approval from anybody out there. I don't need to say, well, what the heck are they doing over there? Maybe I should do what they're doing. No, this is saying, I know my light. I know what I want to do, and I'm focused on where my feet are going. I'm not worried about everybody else's feet. I'm worried about my feet, you know? And so this is kind of how others see you as well. And other people might see you as being a little bit unsocial right now, right? A little bit asocial. And that's okay, because I feel like you're really focusing on the stuff that you got to do. You're focusing on what's going to get you the life you want. It's not to say that you're alone. No, the Hermit's not alone. The Hermit is resisting distraction. The Hermit is invisible to a lot of the drama. It's kind of like when you say, miss me with that stuff, you know? That's the Hermit. It says, miss me with that stuff. Because it's got this cloak of invisibility. It's not even trying to see the drama, the nonsense, right? It's saying, maybe this is really like saying there's a lot out there in the world that's happening that I can't control. A lot of things that if I allow myself to get disturbed by everything, I'm going to be a mess, right? So I want to be aware of what's happening in the world, but I don't want to let that control me. And so what we can do is we can focus on the healthy, the positive, the constructive, productive activities, behaviors, goals, hobbies, whatever, right? That we want to have in our life. Okay, so we're not going to bury our head in the sand and be the ostrich, you know. But we're not going to let our whole lives be wrecked by everything that's going on outside of us, outside of our control, right? I think if anything, we're going to be aware of it, but I don't really want to use the word indifferent, because that implies that there's no emotional concern for things. I think you're a very sensitive person and you do care about everything. And I think that's probably why you're not really doing the news anymore. You're not really doing much social media now. You're not trying to always be looking and seeing what the Joneses are doing on the other side of the street, because you know that you get emotionally involved with things. And right now you're trying to follow your healthy, constructive path of growth and of wellness, and whatever this is exactly for you, it's really wonderful, right? So people might be looking at you as someone who's a little bit antisocial lately. Okay, I don't want to say that word, but you know, it is what it is. And I think that this, again, it doesn't mean that we're alone. I think it means that you're focused on the people, the places, and things that matter to you. So you got your family, you got your pets, your plants, your people, Yeah. And the rest of it is just something that's kind of outside of that. And, you know, maybe you're focused more on your neighborhood, your community, local stuff. You're not worried about these big things, you know, because you're trying to do the things that are going to grow, very strong and healthy in your life. The things that the things that are around you now that you can put your energy into and build, you know, build your beautiful life. So I think that this is, as the persona, this is probably accurate, you know. I think that even when you are in a crowded room, you still kind of feel like, I'm doing me, I've got my own light, I'm following my will, my instinct, my intuition, and I'm following my own inner light. This might be, you know, a card that is saying that we still perform our duty out in the world, you know, but there's a little bit of, I feel like a little bit of detachment because you are doing your thing. You know, this reminds me when I first started meditating many, many years ago, back in about, I don't know, I think it was like the year 2000, right? Long, long ago, right? In a land far, far away. And when I first started doing that meditation and getting into, you know, esoteric subjects and spirituality and things like this, right? That's all I wanted to do. And that's what was important to me. And of course, I still went to work. I still had friends. I still had other relationships. And I still had, you know, a social life. And I was still interested in what was going on in the world. But I had my thing. I had my practice, the thing that I was doing, that I was working on to build up that part of myself and to grow in that particular way at that particular time. And so I felt like I was the hermit. I felt like a lot of things in life just couldn't touch me anymore, you know? Because I was, in some ways, I think we're fortifying ourselves with this. Again, it's kind of miss me with that stuff. It's putting on the cloak of invisibility. Yeah. It's having that magical circle of protection that's saying I'm out here in the world and there's a lot of things going on around me, but I don't have to be touched by everything that happens. Yeah. We don't have to let everything into our circle. Yeah. Anyway, the next card is the position of the shadow. Uncovers a hidden event or influences in your environment, circumstances that may test you. And it is love. But what's more, I think, is this is emotional attachment right now. It's kind of stirring something in us. And I think that it's as an event card, as your relationship card, as the card of the environment. I think we're looking to make connections with the right people, places, and things. This is you loving your pets, your plants, your people. Okay? This is you wanting to choose and continuing to choose connections, people, places, things. Choosing connections that are going to empower you, which is the opposite, right, of kind of stepping in number 2, right? Or, well, number 7 maybe. So this is what we really are looking for, a pure essence, a pure nourishing love, the kind of thing, right? This is the well of love. This is where we want to, this is the water we want to drink. This is, even if I purified it, I'm not going to drink it. There's just no way. I'm not going to, you know? So we're choosing those connections that are going to inspire us, that are going to uplift us, that are going to support us, right? And I feel like if you're looking for a romantic situation, a romantic relationship, or you're in a romantic relationship, use this as your standard. Does this relationship empower me? Do I feel like I'm becoming the best version of myself in this relationship? Does this relationship bring out the best in me? Does it inspire me at least to want to be my best? Right? Sometimes relationships are karmic in nature, where the interaction, the dynamic we have with a person, a place, or a thing is going to bring out some shadow qualities in us. And maybe it's bringing out a little bit of our 7 of Cups. We're able to see things that, oh, okay, those are things maybe I need to work on. Okay, so that could be of that nature too. It doesn't mean that we're only choosing relationships that are happy and pleasant and pleasurable and everybody's always in a good mood. No, it doesn't work like that, right? But we want to ask in every situation, is this connection leading me to my best life? Is it helping me to become the best version of myself? Okay. And I think what it's doing is it's exposing those things that are not helping us to become the best versions of ourselves, right? So by recognizing, again, it's kind of like when we start to recognize and focus on the 8 of Pentacles, we start to notice the 7 of Cups around. When we're focused on the relationships that do empower us, that are reciprocating, that are respectful, that are mutually uplifting and encouraging and supportive, we start to understand those relationships that are the opposite of that. So this is the big center of the table today. This is the axis mundi. This is the galactic center around which all these other cards are swirling today. Because a lot of things, you're starting to get glimpses of these things that you just, ew, icky, don't want in your life anymore. Because you're recognizing the good stuff, you're able to recognize the bad stuff. Once you start eating clean, you start eating healthy whole foods and stuff like apples and whatever, and bananas and oranges and whatever, broccoli, you start to kind of recognize that the junk food stuff just doesn't sound good anymore, as my stomach grumbles talking about junk food, right? I love junk food. I love snack food. But I think we recognize when we start focusing on the good stuff, we start to understand and we start to recognize the bad stuff. We start to see it for what it is, not just with food, with people, with emotions, with anything that we're consuming, you see. And so I feel that this 2 of Cups is really bringing all that out so that you can see it. Yeah. Position 9 is the Spectre. And this shows the fears, anxieties, hidden worries, your concerns, parts of you that maybe are challenging your growth. And it's the 6 of Swords. This is a very regimented card, very organized. And I think this is a part of you that we're sort of maybe like learning how to use more, because again, in all of your readings, it seemed like we have this very fiery energy that just like wants to get things done, just wants to be like fast and wants to like have this surge of energy. Right now we have a little bit more, we have less action, we have more thoughts and feelings today, And so these thoughts and feelings, we're perhaps having a difficult time slowing down and sitting with our thoughts and feelings, and like really paying attention to our thoughts and feelings, because you're a person of action usually. And so you tend to not need a plan. You don't really need a map, You like to just go. You like to get in the car and drive. And if it's fast, then it's better. Yeah. So this is the card of organization. This is the card of planning. And I think that what we're afraid to become, right, that in this position, we're sort of afraid of becoming like just such a regimented person that we're going to lose the organic quality of life. Because we've learned, we have all these learned behaviors, and so it's going to it's going to push out the spontaneity. Okay, that's going to push out some of the improv and some of the joy, some of that rapture of life. But I think that we need a healthy balance. We do need the plan. We do need the organization. We do need to be a little bit regimented, especially when you're trying to climb the mountain here, right? That we want to pay attention to the details. We want to be able to see what challenges await us and what difficulties are on this hill and what we might need to prepare for and what supplies we should bring with us. I think you're learning a little bit more discipline, okay? But see, it's whenever we're alive, right? Kind of this basic, like I woke up in the morning and we're creatures of habit. Yeah. So the more times we do something, the more easy it is to do that thing. And so we all have this kind of discipline, whether we like it or not. The most of the time, though, at least in my own experience, my discipline came from my unconscious, my subconscious, my personal unconscious, my past, my history, or other people. I think what you're learning is that we have to be masters of our own domain. We have to be our own authority. We have to be our own, discipline. And that's what I feel like here, because we're habitual people, just in general, most of us anyway, right? In some way, we are constrained by the neural pathways. We're constrained by those grooves that we've etched into the fabric of our minds, right? Like we're just walking circles in the carpet, and now there's this big, the carpet's worn down in this kind of circle. And so the more we do certain things, it's easier to do those things. And you don't want to be a creature of habit, but yet the cold reality is that we are, whether we like it or not. So with this card and with the Eight of Pentacles, it's kind of saying like, we need to just be responsible for our own habits and our own discipline, and need to be enlightened, So when we start to make our own choices and establish good habits, then, our life kind of grows in that organic way, but still either following conscious, intentional, intuitive, instinctual, enlightened sort of plans, or we're just following the patterns of what everybody else has done, or what we've been taught, or what our complexes tell us, what our trauma tells us, what our parents told us, and that's outside of our control, right? We're putting the discipline on something outside of us, or seemingly outside of us, right? Rather than taking that energy in and saying, I'm going to do something for myself, and I'm going to follow my path, right? This kind of a hermit energy. So we don't want to be regimented, but we're going to be whether we like it or not. This is the card of Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury is the magician. And so really this card is saying that, you're doing magic whether you know it or not. Okay? If you're not doing magic consciously, you're doing it unconsciously. And that's a little risky. Doing it consciously, to recognize that, I think, and to take ownership of that and say, okay, I'm responsible for this, and I'm going to do it consciously. Then we start learning how to do it well. We're all magicians, and that's what the tarot is trying to teach us. We're all magicians. We have to recognize that, and then we've got to start learning how to do it better and better and better and better. And then we can get as close, we can get like a 9.9 on the satisfaction scale of life. Okay? So we need a little bit of that regimented energy. Let's continue on to position 10, Destiny, the final outcome of the journey. Maybe this is an event card. And this is about you really truly aligning your actions with your destiny and your fulfillment, right? What do you have to do to fulfill your highest potential? To get the 10 of Cups, well, what you have to do is you have to keep your mind disciplined. You have to follow some kind of a plan, some kind of a path. Because this 7 is like, it's distraction. It could be criticism. It really, what it's saying is that you're trying to walk that straight and narrow Ace of Swords right in the middle. The problem with that is that there are so many other paths that open up to you. Every moment you're walking this tightrope, and there's all these other alleys and avenues that you could take. And we have to understand who's making those choices. Am I just saying, am I trying to walk this straight line, and I say, ooh, that looks pretty, and I go that way. Ooh, that looks pretty, I go that way. Or am I saying I'm walking this straight line, and I don't care what shiny things are trying to get my attention. I know where I'm going, and I know the path that I need to walk, especially as we get closer and closer to the goals. We're going to recognize more and more of these distractions as the toxic distractions that they are. See, 7 and 7. So these cards really go together. That we're going to understand in our feeling body, we're going to understand what the right choice is, what the right path is. We're going to know, to get to my goal, I got to go this way. All these other things over here and over here are swamps, are bovine excrement. Okay? And so this is really about you staying in that kind of cognitive harmony between your heart and your mind, where despite that part of your mind that says, oh, let's just go have junk food, let's go have a snack, come on, let's just go have some chips or something. I love chips. I could eat a whole bag of chips, right? And sometimes I do, and I don't feel bad about it. But we recognize that, okay, if I'm giving in to that voice every time, I'm screwed. If I give in once in a while, it's not a big deal. But for the most part, I've got to be able to recognize that voice, that chatter in my ear that's saying, go have a snack, go get back in bed, right? I got to recognize that as, the distractive voice, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. But I have to make that decision to stay on kind of the straight and narrow path to get to the goal. Yeah. And so this is how you're aligning your actions with your destiny. You want that 10 of cups. You want the growth, and you want all the fruit from your labor. You got to continue to make the best choice that you can as often as you can. Now, nobody is perfect. Let's look at the mystery card. Nobody is perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. Let's try to make good choices more often than we make poor choices. That's all, right? And I feel like that's what you're doing now. And I feel like we have a lot of energy here that's pointing to you becoming a better magician. I wonder if this will be the magician. This is position 11. It's the guide. It reveals your highest self, your inner teacher, and your deepest wisdom. It shows the character qualities that you need to develop in order to walk the path ahead. Let's see what we have. I think maybe the magician. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, it's a 10 of swords. Okay. And the 10 of swords is the voice of your soul's truth. And I think the truth here is that it's sort of, maybe it's asking a question. How often do we stab ourselves in the back? How often do we sabotage ourselves? Right? I mean, this card, so this is someone taking a dirt nap, right? But the thing is, all those swords in the back, we stabbed ourselves in the back. Okay? So this is the card of that's sort of asking, like, how many times have you done that? How many times have you kind of known the right thing to do, but then we listen to that little voice inside that tempts us to do the wrong thing? This card is also the card of the birdcage, okay? And this is sort of the direction of your evolution right now. It's getting out of the birdcage, that we're going to stop letting all these other things keep us down or keep us on a particular path or keep us from rising, growing, expanding, and evolving and spreading our wings. Okay, all these swords that are in our back, like I said, yeah, sometimes we do that to ourselves. And sometimes we allow this to be done to us. Okay. And I guess what that is sort of means is that we are refusing to stay locked up in this very limited space. Yeah. We're choosing to deny all of these swords, and we're choosing to get up and get out of the birdcage and spread our wings. Okay, so this is kind of like when you wear the cloak of invisibility, these swords can't hit you. And these swords are the criticisms of other people, events happening out in the world, other distractions, and the way that we might allow ourselves to be led into some of these sevens, right? And then we kind of end up, we get ambushed, right? This is somebody that did not get to the finish line. They either let their worries or their doubts get the better of them, or a series of bad choices, and we're donezo on the path. Okay, and so I think it's really important that we realize that you are evolving and growing as a being, and we have to make sure that our relationships, our cognition, our mind, our thoughts, our connection with things outside of us don't end up limiting our potential, or kind of ruining our plans. Like this is somebody who almost got to the top of the mountain and then makes too many mistakes. And I think that this is a very real thing, because when we get to the top of the mountain and we're anticipating that goal, there's something in us that, like, we get really, just as human beings, we get very close to sabotaging that success. When we're just about to make it, there's something that happens, something unconscious that happens, and maybe it's just because we don't want it to end, or maybe because, like, the good feeling is us on the path climbing the mountain. Sometimes the summit of the mountain only exists to justify the climb. So as we get very close to the goal, it's going to become even more important that you stay keen, that you stay discerning, because as you get close to the top, the path gets very, very narrow, right? It's like a mountain that's wide at the base and skinny at the top. Skinny at the top, there's not a lot of room for error. Okay? And so it becomes really a very careful careful path, the last few steps. So I think this is a very good reminder of that. And I think this works as a confirmation card, as a mystery card. Now, let the lessons of these 11 stations settle into your heart. Each card is a mirror. Each station is a temple of transformation, alternating between who you're becoming and the world you're creating. Remember that the tarot does not dictate your future. It reveals the pattern of possibility. It invites you to co-create your destiny. If this reading has illuminated your path, please share your reflections down below. Together we journey onward, ever upward and ever inward. And we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner. There's a link down below in the video description. New readings for Sagittarius on Wednesdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.